Hello and welcome. You're watching Loops and Lore with Meg, and for today's video, I'm going to be doing a book haul. And you may be wondering, I just did a book haul last month. You said you weren't going to haul that many books because you have full bookshelves. All of that is true, but yeah, here we are. So, without further ado, we're going to haul some books. 4 of these are read, the rest are not. So I'll go through the ones I have read prior to buying them first. And first up is I got used from my bookstore the 3 books of the 5 of these like little pocket leather editions of Game of Thrones. So this is A Clash of Kings, A Feast of Crows, and A Stone of Swords. So I will need to find the other 2 that came in these, but these were like $5 each, and I could not pass that up because I have not seen them at that price ever. So I did go ahead and get those. And they're probably at that price because it's missing 2 of the set, and we'll see if I ever am able to find those other 2s. Probably not. But without further ado, everybody knows about Game of Thrones. It's a epic fantasy by George R. R. Martin that is really, really good, and I really like it. It has dragons and political intrigue and all of the above. Next is a book that I read, I think 2-ish years ago for book club, and this is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. This is a fantastic historical fiction about a girl who is blind and living throughout World War II in occupied France. It also has another perspective of a soldier who doesn't necessarily want to be a soldier. If I remember correctly, it's been a while since I've read this, but I do remember the writing was really beautiful and the intrigue of what all was going on was very intriguing. So that one was great. And I like to have as many of my book club books as I can, especially ones that I've liked, so that way it's kind of like a little section of a bookshelf that is all dedicated to my friends and what the books that we've read together. Next is books 2 and 3 to a book I just recently fell in love with, and that is Red Seas Under a Red Sky and The Republic of Thieves by Scott Lynch. I got both of these used, and I cannot find these very easily, so I ended up going to Macari to get these. And yes, they are different from my cover, and they are also different sizes, but you know what? I am embracing the difference between them for now. I could not find one that really matched my Locus of Lockamore, but I'm really loving the Fiery Ship, and I also really love this one, despite it having people on the cover. But The Lies of Lockamore is the first book of the Gentle Messenger series. This is book 2 and book 3. And it is all about a group of thieves and how they have to live to get by and what happens when their own heists get tangled up in the ongoings that are happening within the, like, underground of this city. It's very hard to talk about without spoiling anything, and I don't want to spoil anything, but it's one of my favorite books of all time, so getting these was a must. Next, I got 2 nonfiction books from the library that I was interested in, and purchasing these from the library means that the money went to my library, which I really, really love to do. And I like to get like weird, I say weird, I like to get nonfiction books in that case because then I'm not spending a ton of money on something that I may or may not like. And the first one is Rise of the Rocket Girls. This is the women who propelled us from missiles to the moon to Mars by Nathalia Holt. I love nonfiction about women in STEM and learning about what everybody has gone through to get to the point that we are. And this has some really cool like images throughout it showing like the real people and what they've done. So I definitely am looking forward to this. I'm hoping it gives me the same vibes of like Hidden Figure, or this next month I'm going to be reading the Girls of Atomic City, and I think that all of these kind of have that same centralized theme and feel to them, which I should really, really like. Next is my weird one that I don't know how I'm going to feel about it, but it is Spineless, The Science of Jellyfish and the Art of Growing a Backbone by Julie Bewald. I thought this cover was gorgeous. That's what initially made me pick it up. And then I was like, ooh, I feel like this could be a book about jellyfish, but also a book with some like self-growth kind of themes to it in the sense of growing a backbone, you know what that I'm saying? But I don't know. There was something very intriguing about this, and I love random science books, so I definitely picked this one up. But we're gonna see how I can get this fit on my shelf because my science book is full, and it's been full for a while. So we'll see how it happens with that one. Next is a book that got me and that I got because of girl math. So I ordered a cat door, and it was like $6 from getting free shipping, and shipping was $8, and I was like, I am not about that. So I got this book because basically I got it half off, correct? Because I saved $8 for shipping. So this is Blood Over Brahman by M.L. Wong. This is a dark academia book, I do believe, about mages. It says the first woman ever admitted into his prestigious order of mages unravels a secret conspiracy that can change the practice of magic forever, and the standalone dark fantasy by the author of Sword of Kagan, which is also a book I've been meaning to read. But everything about this just really fits my vibe, and I really like the look of it. So I'm hoping that this is going to be great. But I could not pass up the opportunity to girl math and get a free book instead of paying for shipping. That was obvious. Next is a book that I got from the used bookstore, solely because literally the day before I went, a person I was seeing online was talking about it. And I have a feeling it was Becca with the books. She had done a video about all of her favorite books, or like 50 favorite books that she's read since being on BookTube, I think as a part of like an anniversary type thing. And this one sounded really interesting. And then I went to the bookstore, and it was there as a signed copy, and that is Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. I do believe this is urban fantasy about witches, which I'm really excited about, and it is hidden amongst this is a secret coven of witches known as Her Majesty's Royal Coven. They protect town and country from magical forces and other otherworldly evils, where the greatest enemy will come from within. So yeah, it definitely has that kind of urban witchy vibe, which I want to read more of, and I thought this cover and everything was super, super cool. And the fact that it's signed was just a bonus. So I definitely just impulse got this one because I literally the night before I'd seen it in a video of someone talking about it. Next is a book that I have gotten because every time I go, it draws my attention, and then the next time I go, it's not there, and then it's back. So it's just one of those things that I've seen it so many times, and it's been intriguing to me. And it's intriguing because I think it might give me the vibes of a certain book that I've loved in the past. At least that's what I'm hoping for. I don't know if that's going to be the case. But this is Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Muro, hopefully. This is about a historical England in 1882, where two children with mysterious powers are hunted by a figure of darkness and a man of smoke. 16-year-old Charlie, despite a brutal childhood in Mississippi, doesn't have a scar on him. His body heals itself whether he wants to or not. And then Marlowe is a foundling from a railway freight car who shines with the strangest blue light. He can melt or mend flesh. And then it says when a jaded female detective is recruited to escort them to safety, all three begin a journey into the nature of difference and belonging and the shadowy edges of the monstrous. So yeah, it seems like they also like maybe is a school of talented children type scenario, and it looks like they travel from like London and Tokyo and Edinburgh. So I'm all about that. When I initially saw it, and when I initially saw that it was like Victorian London, I was kind of hoping maybe a little bit of a Jonathan Strange Mission Royale vibes with like a alternative history type of aspect. But it also gives me almost like, I don't know, like if we were villain vibes, where it has maybe that gonna have that cool kind of literary tone to it. So I'm definitely hopeful for this one, and I decided to pick it up because it has been there forever, and every time I go, I pick it up and look at it. So I finally decided to go ahead and get it. Next is another impulse buy in the sense that I decided to get it because I am trying to figure out this year if I actually might like horror, or if I've just been like, and just been avoiding it my entire life, or if I actually don't like it. And so I saw this one and I couldn't pass it up because I've seen so many people talk about it. And it also has another aspect to it that I'm trying to do more into. And that is Native American like authors and representation of Indigenous folks. And this is White House by Erica K. Worth. I have a strong tie to Cherokee ancestry, so I definitely, it's something that I want to get more into and learn more about, and also like read more books with that kind of representation, because I find it so interesting every time I do, but then I don't like get more of it. So this is says that heavy metal ripped jeans, Stephen King novels, and the occasional beer, the White Horse, had defined urban Indian Kari James's life so far. But when her cousin Debbie finds an old bracelet that once belonged to Kari's mother, inadvertently calls up her mother's ghost and a mysterious entity, and Kari's willful ignorance about her past is no longer sustainable. So it definitely feels like it has some sort of haunted vibes to it, but also I just really think it sounds interesting. And I never thought that about horror novels. So I definitely want to give them a go, because it is something that I think could be very cool to get into, because there's so many that I've heard about that sound interesting, but then I'm like, oh, it's spooky, I don't know, so I give up on it. I am going to attempt to not give up on these anymore and see in 2025 if I am officially into horror or not. So that is the plan, that is the vibe of this haul, and that is all the books that I've hauled so far. If you read any of these, please let me know if you like them. You can let me know what the last book you hauled is, and if you are excited about it. That is it for me, so happy reading, stay cozy, stay crafty, bye!